Okay, so the next thing that we want to talk about, now that we covered what some variables are, we want to try and get into um, a different data structure, and this data structure is called an object. So objects have attributes about them. So I guess the best way that you can look at it would be, let's say, no, that's not it. Where is my guys? Don't ever get old. Never get old. All right, so our next piece is how do objects work? So I know I had a real tough time um, when I was really learning the program, so I really struggled with some things. So right now, let's talk about how a class should work. A class is going to have some things about it. Um, and let's look at how a class structure should work. Okay, so let's say we have a class for a bicycle. So in this case, you've got a bicycle, and then do you see how we've got a number for bicycle? It says int cadence. Well, in Java, the way I taught you in Ruby, like if you just want to call something a number, you don't have to say it's an integer. But in Java, you do. So you would say int cadence. So can everybody see right there? Int cadence.
Yep.
So it's going to be a number, so you always have to tell it it's going to be a number. So int cadence, int speed, int gears. Well, the reason is because they want the ability to, even though it's a bicycle, the bicycles may look different, right? But you want the bicycles to be able to change gears. You see this line down here, change cadence?
Mm-hmm.
That's something you want the bicycle to be able to do, right? Down here, you want this bicycle to be able to change gears. That's something you want it to be able to do. So cadence, you want to be able to give it a value whenever you want. Gear, you want to be able to give it a value whenever you want. Speed up, you're going to take gear and then you're going to add numbers to it, increment. Right? Apply brakes, you're going to take speed, you're going to decrement numbers to it. And then you'll have something that just says, hey, print the states of each of these. Print the state that the cadence is. Print the state that the speed is. Print the state that the gear is. So if you have a class for bicycles, then it doesn't matter if one bike is at one speed and another bike is at another, or one bike is at one cadence, or one bike is at one gear. Each of these bikes are going to have a cadence, a speed, and a gear. Does that make sense, guys?
Yep. Makes sense.
So the reason that you want to have a class is you want some things to be able to inherit properties. So it doesn't matter if it's a bike. You can have a mountain bike, a road bike, a tandem bike. Each one of these bikes is going to have cadence, speed, pedals, gears, but there'll be different things about these bikes. So I like this example. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to teach you Java, but I want you to see that. So like inside of Metasploit, you're going to see that you have to implement classes. So you start to understand, okay, it's just a group of stuff, and some stuff below it is going to have attributes. So let's have us implement a class. So we're going to create a class, and the class is going to be called attacks. Come on, computer. There you are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say first attack. So first underscore attack equals attack dot new. So I got to first attack. Oh, I'm stupid. Sorry about that. I need to build the class. Okay. Oh, Alex, are you back? You lost connection. Are you back, buddy? Alexander, you back?
I don't think it's back out here.
Okay. All right, so we start on line 100. I'm sorry, I didn't build the class first. So we'll say class attack. Right? So when you said class attack, you're almost saying the equivalent of bicycle. Right? That's the big thing. Then the stuff below it will be the types of attacks. Right? Just like here with bicycle, the stuff below it is the types of bicycles, right?
Correct.
So we'll say adder, assessor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now when I do this, I just say space OF, right? So for me, a class of attack is an overflow. A class of attack is an overflow, like a buffer overflow.
Okay.
Okay? That's one class of attack, right? So I'm going to go OF, comma, right? Then I'm going to do another colon, SQL injection. Okay? SQL injection is a class of attack. With buffer overflows, there's multiple types of buffer overflows. There's stack overflows, there's heap overflows, there's integer overflows, right? So with buffer overflows, there's more than one type of buffer overflow. With SQL injection, there's more than one type of SQL injection. So there's blind SQL injection, union SQL injection, error SQL injection. Well, the next one I'm going to do is cross-site scripting. Well, there's multiple types of cross-site scripting the same way. There's reflected cross-site scripting. There's stored cross-site scripting. There's DOM cross-site scripting. So even though you have attacks, right? Attacks are the big thing. Then you have these subcategories of attacks. Is that reasonable?
Yes.
But then even in those, you want to be able to start kind of classifying those, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to do first attack, right? And now you can just say attack.new. What this attack.new structure is going to give me is the ability to add to the attack class. That's why you can say attack.new. Now, when you see this gobbledygook, how many of you guys see all this? You're like, hey, man, what's that? Right? All that gobbledygook is just the memory address of where it's at.
I see.
Right? So attack is located at blah, 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 x, 0, blah, 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 somewhere in memory somewhere. Somewhere real nerds understand what that means. All it means is that's the address of where that block of memory is, where attack is located. Okay?
Okay. And in Windows, it does not show that. I'm just doing it in Windows, following Windows, and it does not show, it does not show you where the memory address is at.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. So let me go class, attack, adder, assessor, OF, SQLI, success. Okay, first, attack, new.
Oh, I know why. I didn't end it.
Oh, you didn't end the class. Okay.
So I was going at it. Okay, that's what happened.
Okay, so now we do attack.new. Okay. All right, so now we do attack.new. Now let's try and throw one, right? So we'll go first, right? So first attack. Now one of the types of attack is an overflow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you remember what I said some of the different types of overflows are?
Right.
One is a stack overflow. Now, one of the types of SQL injection is blind SQL injection. One of the types of cross-site scripting is DOM-based cross-site scripting. DOM.
Mm-hmm.
Cross-site scripting. Oh, you're muted. Okay, let me get you fixed there, Alexander. I think when you disconnected and came back, that's what did it. There you go, bud. Sorry about that,
Yeah,
buddy.
I guess so. That's fine. Thanks.
Uh-huh. Okay. So is this working so far, guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
So far.
Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to, for lack of a better word, turn this on. You want to initialize it, right? So the way we initialize these things that we did, or the way you can initialize it, you can instantiate it, or you can print it, right? So it's kind of like, how do you turn this on? So what we want to do is, now that we created the whole attack class, that was this here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then for each one of these things, we populated each one of them with one item. So our class was called attack, and then our three types of attack were overflows, SQL injection, and cross-site scripting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have multiple types of overflows. What was one type of overflow, guys?
Stack. Yep.
Yeah, so one of your types of overflows, right? You seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
Was a stack. So basically, we just added stack to a type of overflow. Okay, and one of your types of SQL injection was what?
Blind.
Blind. So you just added blind. You see how you added it to an attack?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and one of the types of cross-site scripting was
DOM.
DOM. Added it to DOM-based cross-site scripting. So now that you've done that, you want to think of it kind of like you want to initialize it. You want to instantiate it. You want to initialize it. You want to print it so that you can use it. So we're going to put, right, first underscore attack dot .of, right? So did you see how it prints it out? You see how it prints it out right here?
Yep. Stack. Stack.
Uh-huh. Now, let's put the SQLI one. Okay? You see how it prints it out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All right, now, how many of you guys are noticing that Ruby tells you nil? You guys see that right below it?
Yeah. That was, yeah.
Yeah, all that means is he's done. It's kind of like, hey man, I'm done. There's nothing else to see. So like, did you notice when you did that up here?
Yep.
Like as soon as you finished, he was like, okay, you're good? All right, cool. We're going to end with nil, right? It's kind of how Ruby tells you like, hey man, I'm done there. Right? So when you see that, don't worry. That usually means he's done. Okay? So now let's put first attack cross-site scripting, right? And then we have DOM. Okay, so you guys feeling okay with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Alright, so now what I want to show you guys is how we do some inheritance. So I'm going to go to exploitdb.com. Okay, and I know we're not really ready for exploits yet, but I just want to show you why I'm doing this, right? I don't want you to think that like, oh, Joe just wants to make it a programming class because he likes making it a programming class. So here's an exploit, and the exploit's for Metasploit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to open this up, and let's look at it. So there's a bunch of stuff I haven't taught you yet, but what is the first thing that you notice?
Class.
Aha. So you're going to build these classes, and then this class, you're going to be like, okay, so he's got this Metasploit class, and the class includes these things. So Metasploit framework, it's a exploit. Now the Metasploit framework has exploits, it has auxiliaries, right? So auxiliaries is anything that's not an exploit. A scanner is an auxiliary. A sniffer is an auxiliary. A password cracker is an auxiliary. But exploits, well, that's something, but you have different types of exploits. You have remote exploits, right? So remote exploits, if I'm attacking a remote computer, I need a remote exploit. If I'm attacking a local computer, that means I'm logged into the machine and I need to go from a low-level user to a higher-level user, right? That's a local exploit. So what type of exploit is this?
A remote security.
It's a remote exploit. But then he says, okay, well, if it's remote, well, I got to talk to a remote service like Telnet, like FTP, like SSH, right? So you're seeing that he says he includes what? SF, what?
Metasploit and the
What kind of exploit?
A remote.
And then what?
Telnet.
Telnet. Are you starting to see it, how it works, guys?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm again, guys, I'm not trying to teach you to program. You know, I don't want you to think I'm trying to teach you to program. I'm trying to do this so that when you're looking at it, you understand?
Yep.
You're comfortable with what you're looking at. And I felt like that was kind of the problem with people trying to learn Metasploit. Like you're teaching a class and you tell the student, oh, pop right into the script and change the class, you know, and make sure it includes HTTP client. And then you'll see the student look at all this stuff and be like, yeah, what is this? You know? And then what is this defined stuff? You can understand what I'm saying, guys?
Right.
Okay. So that's the reason why I'm doing this, guys. I I don't want you to get frustrated if I have a lot of this stuff I have to cover. I'm only going to cover the absolute minimum so that we can thumb through scripts, okay?
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Okay. So now let's start dealing with the class. So it's going to look a lot like what you just saw in Metasploit. What we want to deal with is something called inheritance. So Metasploit is an exploit framework. Now this exploit framework includes a lot of things. The exploit framework includes scanners, like you want to have port scanners, you know. It includes exploits. Some of the components inside of an exploit, for example, will be called shellcode, right? So that's what some people call the payload, right? And it also includes post modules, like if you want to do stuff after you break into a machine, like maybe you want to steal the passwords, we call those post modules. So your exploit frameworks, they're all going to have scanners, exploits, shellcode, post modules. Now the exploit frameworks, Metasploit is not the only one. There's an exploit framework called Canvas. It's from a company called Immunity. So Canvas is a Metasploit competitor. It's an exploit framework. See, look what they're telling you. What do they have? Hundreds of exploits.
Exploits, yeah.
Yeah, automated system, comprehensive, reliable exploit development framework. You got all kinds of stuff. One of the reasons why some people like Canvas over Metasploit is when you purchase Canvas, you can actually get zero-day exploits as part of the package. Whereas Metasploit will not give you 0 days.
Right.
Right? Now, there's another one called Core Impact. So, Core Impact is another exploit framework that has a lot of the same features that Metasploit has. And quite frankly, Core Impact, if I recall correctly, was around before Metasploit.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Core Impact. Another one that you have is Synced. Okay, that's from Sync Corporation. So they've got a penetration testing framework. Excuse me. All right, now there's a brand new one on the scene, and they're called Exploit Pack.
Wow, 34,000 exploits.
I
Got
didn't
many
know
there.
you had that many. Yeah, that must be pretty new because a few months ago when I looked at them, they only had about like 50 or 60 exploits.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so my guess is what they probably did. I don't know, but my guess is that they probably pulled in the stuff from Exploit DB,
Oh,
right?
I see. Wow. 34,000. That's probably what they did. Pull it from the archive.
Yeah, so they probably pulled in a bunch of the exploits from Exploit DB. That would be my guess. And the reason Exploit Pack was interesting was because Exploit Pack could use exploits that were standalone exploits. Like Metasploit exploits won't run outside of Metasploit.
Mm.
Exploit Pack exploits do. Like you could just take the script outside of Exploit Pack and run it.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is that they took, I don't know, my guess is that they took the exploits from around the web, cleaned them up so that they fit inside of uh, Exploit Pack, but probably still run outside of it. That's just my guess. I don't know. Just my guess. Okay, so let's build an exploit frameworks class. So our first class, or second class rather, is going to be called exploit frameworks. Now we always have to, after we set it, we always say adder assessor, and then we're going to add these components to it. You see?
Yep.
Now, let's look at that very first line when we do it. So the class is going to be called what, guys?
Exploit frameworks.
Okay, so the class is called exploit frameworks, right? My adder assessor, that's kind of my properties. My properties are going to be scanners, exploits, shellcode, host modules, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if that's what I have, then I'm going to say end, right? And as soon as he's done, what does he tell you?
Yeah, very important to say N.
Yeah, you remember, very important to say end, right? So as soon as you're done, he's like, okay, yep, I'm good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, check out what happens in line 128, guys.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
What are you doing with class Metasploit?
Class Metasploit.
Yeah, look at line 128. You go class Metasploit, you put a less than sign, and then you have the word what? Exploit framework,
Exploit framework. Yep.
right? So what you're saying is take everything from what?
From
Exploit
scanners,
frameworks,
Mm-hmm.
you see?
Yep.
And put it into Metasploit,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, like you said, always say,
And
always say end. Okay. After that, what are you going to do with your next exploit framework?
and you initiate it.
Uh-huh. So we did Metasploit. Metasploit's competitor is...
Canvas. Oh.
So you see what you're doing?
Right.
Okay. Always say...
And
Always say end. Okay. Now, as soon as you say that, he's going to tell you what?
Nil. Yeah.
Neil?
Uh-huh. Good job, guys. Okay. So we've got Metasploit, we've got Canvas. The next competitor is who?
What's that? Canvas and
Next competitor is down here on line 132.
Oh yeah, core impact. Yeah.
Always say
And.
As soon as you say end, he's going to say back to you what?
No. To you, my highness.
Kneel to you, highness, exactly.
Mm.
Okay, and then we got another competitor who?
The saint. Yep.
And then you say,
Go and boom.
you'll have to say what?
And.
There you go. And then finally, who's the last competitor with 30,000 exploits?
Gee. That goose, man.
What?
I can take some of those. That was Exploit Pack, I think it was.
Boy, Pat, good. And then we say,
Exploit Pack. Enter and.
then we say end. Good job.
Ooh la la.
Good job. Okay. So, what's their class called here?
Metasploit 3.
And then what's going into it?
The Metasploit.
And?
And that's auxiliary exploits.
And?
Remote.
There you go. Right? So that Metasploit container, MSF, probably has a whole bunch of stuff. And then the exploit container probably has a whole bunch of exploits. And then the remote container has a whole bunch of remote services.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Because you can see when he includes them later on.
This is he.
Starting to make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I just want you to start getting comfortable with how it looks, you know?
Right.
Like you start going like, okay, I get it. Like this is just categories of stuff. Now, I'm going to pop a duplicate real fast. If I do an ls in here, let's see. Let's go to modules. There we go. So I jumped into Metasploit. When I jumped into the modules directory, what do you notice that they have?
Auxiliary. Okay.
Auxiliary.
Auxiliary. Yeah.
So like when you start choosing where you want to start pulling stuff from, that's what you're doing. You're kind of saying like, okay, pull this stuff from here. Pull this stuff from here. Pull this from here. Does that make sense, guys?
Right, yep.
Yep.
Okay. Now we want to talk about a method. So a method is going to be a little bit more defined, right? So what you're going to say is Close this. So I'm down on line 154, okay, guys?
Okay.
154.
Yeah, I'm down on line 154.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So now what we want to say is class MSFNL, and it's because this class was called Metasploit Next Level, just in case you were wondering, like, hey Joe, why MSFNL? You know, it's Metasploit Framework Next Level, right?
Okay.
Okay, so now we've got this class, let's define learning. Now let's put, we are learning how to pen test. Okay? End it. And let's end it. Now that's weird, right? I hit end 2 times. Right?
Yeah, the first time did not show up.
Say that again?
I said, yeah, the first time that enter N did not, it just continued. Then the second one, that's what it confirmed.
Exactly. So, like, you did the first one, right? That's for this guy. Then you did the other one, that's for the top.
I see.
Yep.
So now I can say Joe, right, equals MSFNL dot new, right? And now I can go Joe dot learning. And then boom, it prints it out. Yeah?
Joe Dolan. Okay. Did not get that. Why is that? Okay.
Okay. So let's start again. Make sure you have this line.
Oh, okay. I got it undefined puts. Okay, so it takes I missed the S on the puts. That's why. Okay, puts. We are learning how to this. Aha. Okay, got it now.
So you're going to start seeing some of this stuff. You're going to start seeing some of these structures in your Metasploit exploits. Make sense, guys?
Makes sense.
Classes usually have methods inside of them. So there's your class. And then you're usually going to have methods inside of them. Now, it's just, pretty easy to, say we make it, Bob equals MSFNL dot new. Right? And Bob dot learning. Right? You see how it doesn't matter what I call it.
So when you get the error message which says undefined method, that was because initially I didn't put it correctly?
Yeah, you didn't label it when you first built it.
Label correct. I see, okay. So now in order to rectify that, I just gotta rewrite it again, right? Puts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. Just go up and paste it all over.
Okay.
So are you guys noticing that it doesn't have to be Joe? Do you guys see what I did here?
Yep.
Right? It doesn't have to be Joe. Once I built this new method, I say, look, if I want to call it, Joe, if I want to call it Bob, if I want to call it, PT for Pentest. As soon as I say .learning, he prints that out.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Now, if I do this whole thing again, like you guys, I got this class, and let's say I go def port scan, right? I'm gonna go put we are running scan. Okay, so inside of that, we came up with a new attribute called what?
Port scans.
Uh-huh. So now I can say, I don't know, in-map. Dot what?
Ports.
Oops. Oh, my mistake. Here, let me clean this up. Okay, so there's your class. Let me def in-map. Let me put, we are running a scan. Sorry guys, had a stupid attack. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is let's make it one of the port scanners. Sorry about that. MSFNL dot new. Right? Now I can in-map dot what?
Port scan. MSFNL dot new. Oh, I did the same thing you did. I did the same thing you did. I'll show you what I did wrong. Right here, def port scan. Let's put, now I have to what?
End it.
I did the exact same
Yay.
did the exact same thing. Okay, so now we'll do that. It gives us the address. Now I can in-map dot port scan like that. Sorry about it. I had a stupid attack. Okay, now in-map is a port scanner, right?
Yep.
Could we have made a new port scanner like maybe Xprobe? Like Xprobe is a port scanner. NetScan Tools is a port scanner, right? So for each one of these NetScan Tools could be one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this way, if we want to run NetScan Tools dot port scan, then now what does it say?
We're running a scan.
Uh-huh. So I'm trying to get you the idea of like what you're doing in Metasploit, right? Like you might have a script that does, you know, a sniffer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might have another script that's an HTTP brute forcer. But you have like 3 or 4 different types of HTTP brute forcers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe one is for Apache, maybe one is for JBoss, maybe, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you build this class and then you start defining this substructure. Does that make sense, guys?
Makes sense. Yep.
Okay, so that's really all it is. You 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 just want to know that these are containers so that a guy can make categories of stuff he wants to do. That's really all it is.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Just kind of looking at what I'm about to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's go for puts. Right parent, copy double quote, and testing. Right? When you saw me write that out, did you guys notice I went left parent, right parent, double quote,
Yep.
double quote,
So much easier.
and then typed it out?
So like that you avoid missing, any branches, any,
Exactly. You're trying to make sure that you don't make those kind of little mistakes, okay? Okay. Right. Let's jump down. I want you guys to do 195, 195 to 200.
Okay.
Okay, you guys go ahead and do those. Going okay?
Yep.
Okay, was this kind of like the stuff that we did already?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Yeah, not too bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well let's see if we can try some of it, right? A equals what?
3.
Okay, B equals
6.
okay. So if I go A plus B plus 20, no problem. D equals
4.
F equals.
D.
Now I want to puts. Puts. Do you remember what puts does?
Initiate.
Yeah, initiate or print, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he puts F, and he says what?
44.
Okay. Sometimes you're going to see some operators. So an operator might be like G equals 70. So there's your variable. Now, here's a little trick. G equals G plus 44. Can you tell me what happened there when you did that one?
Yeah, he took the value from G for 70 and added 44. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This.
Neat.
So let's try another one. Let's try 213. G plus equals 33.
How? Well, what is that plus and equal? That means adding to.
Yeah, it means add it to yourself.
Okay, so it's adding to G.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so it's taking the previous value and adding to it. Okay, got it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Now we want to try one a little bit different. Hey. Yeah, right now it's okay. Yeah. Oh, nah, maybe come back later. I gotta work for a little bit. Uh-huh. Yep. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, your next one is line 217. That's almost the same, right? But it's not that added to itself. It's what?
Multiplying it.
Uh-huh.
Wow, 441. Very cool.
Okay. Okay. So now the next piece that we got to deal with is how do we deal with numbers and strings? So let's try up here, number of ports equals 55. Let's go to line 235. Okay, so your number of ports, no problem. So now right here, my next line I said puts, it's kind of like print, right? Kind of like instantiate, turn on, do this. So when you say the number of ports found during the scan, right? So if number of ports is what?
Less than 300.
Less than 300. I hit enter, right? He responded back with what? Okay. Well, right now, number of ports is what?
55.
So is it less than 300?
Yes.
Yes. So now what if I change that number to 30? So why did it print the number of ports this time but not this time?
Because 30 is less than 55.
So you can do some logic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try another one. Let's go put number of ports found during the scan if number of ports is, right? This is a test. Is 300. Is number of ports 300?
No.
No. So it didn't print it, huh? But we can say, okay, well, what if it is 55? Does it print it?
Yep.
Yeah, it does. So double equals is a test case. Is this true? Is it not true? Does this equal this? Right?
It does.
Okay? You're going to see that a lot in your exploits when they're trying to figure out if, like, if the operating system matches something. You'll see it like, if it equals Internet Explorer 8, do this. You know?
Right.
If it equals Internet Explorer 10, do this. Right? So some of your exploits, when you see an exploit works on different targets, it needs to read what the target is. Is it Windows XP? Okay, if it's Windows XP, do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it's Windows 7, do this. Okay. All right. Now we have exclamation point equals. Exclamation point equals is not. So an exclamation point and an equal sign is does not equal to.
You could print it out.
Okay. All right. You guys feeling okay so far?
Yeah.
All right. So guys, let's take a quick little break. How about we take 15 minutes, yeah?
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right, let's take 15. I think we did good.
Yeah, so far it's going great. Good start there, Joe.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Thanks a lot.